Hello students, welcome once again. In this video we are going to discuss about the question answer of chapter 1 of standard 8, that is modern period. Now if you have book, you can see on page number 9. We will start from MCQs. Question number A, that is tick the correct answer. There are many MCQs. You have to put a tick mark over the correct options. First is historians have divided into dash periods. The options are 3, 4, 2 and 5. The correct option is 3. Means according to historians, history are divided into 3 periods: ancient period, medieval period and modern period. Second is this century is generally taken as the beginning of the modern period. Now which century? Options are 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th. The correct answer is 18th century. 18th century, you know that 18th century is generally taken as the beginning of the modern period. Third is they introduced the culture of recording everything. Now who introduced? I told you in my previous video. Mughals introduced. Options are British, Mughals, Delhi Sultans and Cholas. Now the correct answer is Mughals. Diaries, fourth question is diaries and accounts of pilgrims are examples of. Options are official records, survey reports, foreign records and indigenous records. Now the correct answer is indigenous records. Now the second question number B, that is true and false. Number 1, dates in history are not linked to events. Is it true or false? It is false. Dates in history are linked to important events. Second is colonization and urbanization are two of the many defining features of the modern period. This 2 points, 2 terms, colonization and urbanization. I told you the meaning of these 2 terms in my previous video, and it is true that these two are the important feature of the modern period. Interpretation differ in history. As you know this, it is true. Means the opinion of Indian historians and the opinion of British historians, there is a much difference between those two. Now fourth is official records are archaeological resources. No, it is not true, it is false, because official records are literary source, because it is in the written form. Now I have prepared a question answer for you, so you will be able to do your question answer also. First question is, what is history? How has the study of history evolved over time? Answer is, history is the study of changing pattern in the society. The changes that occur over time constitute the essence of history. Means this is the meaning of history. It is a study of past, story of past. Over time, history has developed and evolved. Once it revolved around the story of powerful rulers and kings. Now history has become the study of common people. Means the study of life of the common people, their lives and also about their ideas. Second question, list the defining features of the modern era. Why do Indian historians not want to call the British rule in India as a modern period? Now the answer is, some of the defining features of the modern era are scientific progress, industrialization, colonization and urbanization. The British treated India as a colony. They took away raw materials from India and made her an importer of Finnish products or the British products. So British rule can hardly be described as modern. It was colonial period. It will be better to give a name of this period as a colonial period. What are the question number 3? What are the literary source for the modern period? Write a note on time in history. Answer is the literary sources for the modern period are government reports, administrative records, official records of British surveys, and so on. Means all these things are in the text form, are in the written form. So these are the literary source for that period, that modern period. And a span of time is more important in history rather than a precise date. History that was tough a few decades ago was all political history. It is easier to define dates for events in political history, but for social, economic and cultural history, specific dates and cannot be assigned. Why it cannot be assigned for social progress, economic progress and political system? Because all these process took a long period of time, so some specific date can't be assigned to these systems. Now the question number 4, what is modern period in India associated with? The modern period in India is associated with the establishment of British colonial rule and the fight we put up against it. We will study the socio-cultural changes that came about in India under the influence of British. We will read about the rise of nationalism in India, which ultimately led to the India becoming a free nation. Means what did happen during this modern period? We have to write that point in this answer. Now next is long question. Question number D, that is give long answers for the following questions. What do you understand by periodization in history? As you know that when historians divided the history into 3 periods, that process is known as periodization. Answer is, when the historians divided history into 3 periods, ancient, medieval and modern, on the basis of something which has had profound impact on the way we live. This process of division is known as the periodization in history. Second question is, why do interpretation differ in history? Give an example to support your answer. As the point of interpretation we have discussed in our early previous video. Interpretation, answer is interpretation differ in history as individuals and groups interpret events differently. Means interpretation means the views of British and the views of Indian historians. There was many differences between their opinions for the modern period, for the colonial period. For example, British wanted to downplay the popular nature of the revolt of 1857, so they termed it as sepoy mutiny, and thereby implying that only some sepoys of the English East India Company revolted the issue of grease cartridges. The masses, they say, were left untouched, but this was not true. There was a participation of common people was also in this sepoy mutiny, revolt of 1857. This sequence of events Indian historians, however, treat it differently. Contemporary records also supported them. They tell us that common people played a vital role in it. There was an important role played by the common people in the revolt of 1857. And the real reason for this uprising was exploitative nature or the cruel nature of the Britishers. Now the last question is, you have to write short notes on official records and surveys. Official records. Official records. Who introduced the official records? Mughals introduced the recording of everything. So, official records. The Mughal introduced the culture of recording everything. This was further and perfected by the Britishers. Every administrative decision was recorded and carefully preserved. Every executive, legislative and judicial body had record rooms in which even the smallest records were kept and well catalogued. Now the surveys report. The British also began the practice of conducting surveys for the estimations of number of for which they are conducting the surveys. Population surveys, revenue surveys, land surveys and many other types of surveys were conducted. Mapping was an important part of these surveys. So, I hope that by watching this video, you will be able to do your question answer. If you have any problem regarding the question answer, you can ask me in my comment box. So, thank you for watching this video and take care.